Ladies and gents, it's been very difficult getting the sound issues sorted, but we're finally connected. Will you please put your hands together for Volker Wertich? So, Volker, thank you very much for giving us some of your time today. We all know you, of course, as the creator of The Settlers, and you have a new Settlers game coming out. But maybe to start with, we could go back to the beginning.
Yeah, sure, that's fine.
Okay, so you started developing at the age of 13 and sold your first game at the age of 14. How was it possible to learn and produce something in such a short period of time?
Yeah, well, I was starting on the VIC-20, as you know, and of course the VIC-20 originally had 3.5 kilobytes of memory space, so that's not that much. So whatever you're doing, your project will probably be finished after a few months. Otherwise, there's just not enough space to do any gigantic project on there. And another is, of course, in the age of like 12 to 18, I guess you can learn things very, very quickly if you're dedicated to it. So I cared much less for school and much more for coding, and that was really exciting. And I have some logic talent, but not really a language talent, so this was really helpful. And on the other hand, if you just have to coordinate and agree on design and coding implementation with yourself, you can become incredibly efficient.
Okay, excellent. And why did you choose the VIC-20?
Well, those days when I started, there was an Atari 2600 game console was out. But on the computer side, the first things that were viable were ZX81 and VIC-20 of Commodore. And well, in reality, ZX81 didn't even have a real keyboard. It had just some kind of pressing flat area button thing, an easy win. So I wanted to create games in black and white. It's not really interesting for that.
Okay, interesting. And then, before you moved on to the Amiga, did you have other machines? Did you always stay with Commodore, or what other machines did you have between VIC and the Amiga?
Yeah, it would have been great if we could stay with Commodore until today, but sadly that wasn't possible. Yeah. So after the VIC-20, I was coding several years on the C64, and but none of these games was really released. I did many hobby projects for that, and it was for me the best learning time. I was basically doing the groundwork later to be able to work on the Amiga. And it was very similar with the C64. Basically, it was the same CPU, and as I learned assembler, so I could immediately start coding again. So it was just very similar, just stronger. But when the Amiga came out, that was a totally different thing. It was a big challenge since everything was different. I had to get used that memory is not just a fixed location, but instead your program can run anywhere in the machine, which was totally unusual. So I was very clueless. And all the coprocessors were much more advanced than in the C64, and I had no idea how to use them. But one day I found a book called Hardware Reference Manual, and this was kind of my new Bible, and I was stunned by the possibilities. And from that point on, I finally broke into. So when I bought the Amiga, I had like 3 or 4 months where I really felt like I know nothing yet.
So it took some time to get used to the Amiga, and we all know obviously you've developed some really interesting games since then. Where do you get your game ideas from?
Yeah, it is for me definitely that I'm inspired by other games. So especially when I was young, I was looking into everything that was released. Now in the meantime I'm a bit more selective. But for example, when thinking about Settlers, definitely Populous, the very old SimCity, and also the game Little Computer People inspired me. And what I'm doing usually then is I played other games and I thought, hey, that's definitely not bad, but we could do this or that, and it would be much more exciting. And that was basically when I saw the first screenshots of Populous, I had an imagination what could happen in the game, and when I played it, it was a nice game, but I was somewhat disappointed by the limited possibilities. And that was basically also where the basic idea for the Settlers was born.
Okay. And the graphics, of course, are very memorable in Settlers, the original Settlers game. They're very iconic. And Christopher Werner was responsible for those. Did the graphics always look like that during development, or were there periods of development where the look of the game changed?
Yeah, they was basically almost no changes. So Christoph did the perfect work right from the start. And we had a very provisoric environment. You had to imagine there was no real workflows those days. So he painted all the graphics on a few full screenshots. And we used some kind of color coding with several pixels to make sure that we have an idea how big the graphics are and where the central point for the graphics is, so that animations can be fluent. And that was, I wrote an import code to make that sure. And also on the programming, the assembler part. So Settlers 1, as mentioned, was coded only by an assembler, so there was no C code at all. For example, for saving and loading, I used the operating system code, which I called, but everything else was coded in assembler. In the end, it was like 70,000 lines of code. And a rather extreme way to write code because there was almost no comments, there was no debugging. I had, when I wanted to find bugs, I had to print out values or show values on the screen to reverse engineer what is going wrong because such technology didn't really exist or I didn't know or wasn't aware of it yet.
And okay, so what kind of limitations then did you come up against in the Amiga? Because you had a vision and a technical ability and creativity. So at some point, usually there is a limitation you find in technology, maybe.
Yeah, in reality, the Amiga was so much faster and so powerful compared to what has been there before. I didn't really feel limited. And the assembler code, of course, was very efficient. So when I was on the Amiga 500, I think without frame rate drops, I had up to 8,000 settlers in the game world. So this was not really feeling limited at all. It was incredibly powerful in those days. And also in comparison, I think there was no other game out there in this decade which did something similar. And also very large map sizes were possible. What was limited, maybe one thing that is limited was there was no easy way to do multiplayer. So the only way I saw those days was split screen, which of course has some downsides, but at least it had a multiplayer mode already those days.
That's right. And there's still some people with us that play it in multiplayer.
Yes, that's really nice to see. And as we know, the history edition of those old games just have been released. And so it's still possible to play those, even if it's now, of course, a very old game now, but some people still like it, enjoy it. And I see several thousand people, for example, play now every day against Settler 3.
Fantastic. Well, you sold millions of copies. What were the celebrations like for you and your team?
That story, celebration parties. You have to imagine those development team basically was two people living in different locations, and even at the publisher, of course, there were some additional people taking care of the distribution and so on. But it was really a small team, so no parties those days.
Okay. So if there were two developers at different locations, did you post each other discs with updates, or how did you collaborate?
Yeah, basically that's a good question. I think even we sent some data by mail those days. So with snail mail, we would say nowadays. And of course, sometimes we met also at the Blue White headquarters in Mülheim an der Ruhr. It was back those days. So I had like a 2-3 hour trip to there, and I think Christoph Werner, who was working on the graphics, lived more in the vicinity.
And at the time when the game was released, the Amiga magazines are noted for being very excited about the game, even more so than, say, the DOS game. The Amiga really took pride in that game coming to their platform. What did the future of the Amiga look like to you at that time?
I think at that time I was, of course, also looking into the PC, what it can do. For example, there was also, as you know, a PC version of the Settlers, but this was done by a cross-compiler, so there was no new game written. Basically, the Amiga code was transferred into PC code, and since PCs those days did not have 7 megahertz, but usually like 20 to 30, and that was not really a performance issue to achieve the same performance. But from the system, I can just say those days, PC systems, I didn't like that at all. The CPU is much less powerful than the 68000 series was. Instead of 16 registers, you just had a few ones. You were very limited in the commands you could do with them, so coding assembler on PC was, in comparison, a nightmare. Also no co-processors, very strange graphic colors and systems, a quite poor hardware architecture. So I think the Amiga had a great opportunity those days to be more powerful and offer a great future. But I think the big downside was, which was a major flaw by Commodore, that Amiga was not modular extendable. So it was very difficult to go step by step to a better system, or you could not add a new graphic card or add memory easily. So of course memory was possible, but also CPU upgrades and graphic cards, which would have been necessary. It would have been necessary here to update step by step, and I think this opportunity was missed those days.
Yeah. And I remember the first time I played the Settlers, it came as a demo with a magazine and a disc. The demo was actually quite generous. I was talking to some people, and it was a while before we realised that there was any limitation to the demo. We could do so much exploration and experimentation. So it was a very generous demo, and I'm just wondering, how did you decide how many features to put into a demo for the magazines, and where to limit it, and why make it so generous?
That's a good question. Honestly, I can hardly remember, I guess. I mean, the game offers many hours of gameplay, so even on a single map you can play 5 or 10 hours. So to really experience the Settlers and get an idea of what is behind the system and why it could be that fascinating, I think we needed to have a generous demo so people really get the idea, and I think it didn't harm the sales. So I think if the demo was very limited, maybe it even shows a bit more that the game has not that much more to offer, maybe.
Okay, interesting perspective. Does any of the original code or any of the algorithms from the Amiga version exist in subsequent later versions of Settlers?
I think everything in the other games has been rewritten, of course, so there will be no original code exactly like that. I assume that sometimes the old code was looked at, but as mentioned, it was uncommented and pure assembler code, so I guess it is not really a good baseline to create a new project. But about the algorithms, of course, even now, 25 years later, when we are working on the new Settlers game, these algorithms still matter. A lot of the things, for example, what is still valid is the distribution of goods in the game. So as goods are going from one location to other locations, they have priorities, and there's an automated system that decides which carrier should take what and why first to which location. And these systems are still, and the algorithms behind it are still valid, and they get, of course, improved and modernized for the new version. But the baseline is still the same.
And so all of these features need to be tested. We have a lot of people here today who work as software engineers, and we have great tools now for unit testing and automated testing. The Settlers is incredibly complex. How did you test it and get it to a high standard that, I certainly never noticed any issues or any bugs with it?
Yeah, luckily I had a lot of really good and reliable friends those days. So I was changing my living room into a test center. We had 8 to 10, I'm not sure, Amigas put up there in my living room, and a central table which was extended then, and many of my friends were coming every day or whenever they found time in the evening after their work, and came and tested and played the game and reported bugs to me. So I was sitting in a separate room since I needed some more quiet environment, of course, for coding. But of course we were together often, and this was really a great support, since the real QA department that test games for a long time and have bug tracking and kind of bug control also about what is fixed and what's not, didn't exist those days either.
Okay, so you relied purely on your friends playing the game, telling you what wasn't working, is that it?
Yeah, basically it was friends mostly who liked to play the game and helped me for several months. But of course, after the game has been released, there was also some feedback, and we found a few issues here and there, which we have fixed afterwards. But luckily most of that has been found already at the initial release.
Okay. I heard that you worked on a project one time that involves sending images through sound. And I know it's not directly related to the Settlers, but I've never heard of anything like it. Could you tell us briefly what that project is?
Yeah, that was even before the Settlers, when I was in the age of 16 to 18. While I'm in computer, my brother is 6 years older and he's more in electronics. So we teamed up, we made a small company, and we created hardware and software. So he created the hardware, I created the software to transmit pictures. it was a technology which was quite young those days. It was needed for many different circumstances. For example, ships used it to receive weather maps to be sure they are going the right route or where if they are coming into struggle somewhere. So it was kind of an early transportation method for black and white pictures. It was also called fax, which is different from the fax systems we know later that they usually use to transport pictures by phone. But it was somewhat similar, much slower of course, because it was all transmitted by air only over thousands of kilometers. And a second system behind it was also called slow scan TV, SSTV, which was also a way to transmit pictures by air. And slow scan TV here means you have a picture every 2 minutes, something like this. But it was in color, so that was one of the first methods here. And so in these years I learned a bit how to run a business, how to do all the paperwork besides working on the project. So it was also interesting for me and a steep learning curve.
Well, that is incredibly interesting. So we're going to take some questions from the audience in just a minute, so if any of you have any questions for Volker, we'll take them in a minute. And just before we get to that, the Settlers 1 History Edition has been released and there's a bundle available now. Can you tell us about this bundle?
Yeah, the Settlers 1 History Edition was released in August, around Gamescom, I think. And for Settlers 2 to 7, the release has been in November now, so it's out since 2 months. And it's really the traditional games. There have been no major changes to the gameplay, just adjustments mostly for Windows 10 and for the new resolution, so that those games are still playable. There are also some nice additions. For example, in Settlers 1, there's a mode to play the game faster if you want to, since the gameplay nowadays is usually much faster, of course, than those days. But you can play it also in the original style. There are even options for the controls to keep right mouse button scrolling on off. So it's at least possible now to experience it again on a modern computer if you want to.
And you're currently working on a new Settlers game. What can you tell us about it? And what can you not tell us about it?
Yeah, it's not a secret anymore, luckily. Since in August we were going public with the information that we are working on a new one. We are working on it now since more than 2 years, and there's still a good amount of work ahead of us. So we are really looking forward to a project which creates again the stunning experience that we had originally with the Settlers, and we are extending this, of course, with new modern game mechanics that make it more interesting. It gives the player even more choices. But I think if you look at the movies and what the game is currently looking like, you can see it's again taking care of all these lovely details that people were always excited about to like Settlers. And I hope that the community will be very happy when this game is released about getting again this kind of gameplay experience now after so many years.
Fantastic. Yeah, I think a lot of us here are looking forward to that, Volker. Okay, do you have a few minutes for some questions from the audience?
Yeah, sure. Feel free to ask.
Okay. Yeah.
Hi, Volker. I would like to ask about the intro to Settlers 1. I believe it was truly amazing piece of art. Can you tell us more about who has designed it and what was the development process of it?
Oh, I hope I'm really saying the right thing, but when I remember right, I think it was also work done by Volker Wertich. And I know it was of course quite slow about how the things were moving, but for the time that it was released, it was really a nice piece. And also the music was very nice. But honestly, I have to pass, and I'm really not exactly sure if that was done by Christoph the art, and I'm not sure who did the sound. I know that at those days sometimes I worked with Fitzpatrick, but I think it wasn't him on this one. Sorry, I can't remember that detail.
Yeah, one more question?
Thank you, Volker. The question is, from a design perspective, the Settlers actually is made to go at a relatively very slow pace. As you said, levels can be very long, can take many hours. Was that because of the influence from Little Computer People, or was that for other reasons?
The main thing is, and I think that RTS games, which the genre was not really created at this time, it was later. For me, it was most important that the game you take the decisions by in a strategic way. So that means you are not really under time pressure all the time in an extreme way that it is decisive how fast you can have your mouse. Like it was, for example, in Warcraft or later in StarCraft or in Command & Conquer, where it was all mostly about also having heavy time pressure. In Settlers, I wanted the player to enjoy the game world and that he's able to take the time to watch the game world, what's happening, because everything is visualized. So what you see is what you get system, and everything is visualized in detail. So you can look at the world, take your thoughts, and then decide what you want to do, what you want to change, and these decisions should be meaningful.
It's a design decision I totally agree with. Thank you.
Yeah, you will also find this in the new version, so in the new Settlers. What we did is, now, after 25 years, we took a step back and were discussing about what defines now the Settlers really, since we had 7 iterations of Settlers, and some were more true to this DNA and some were not. So we defined the DNA of Settlers as things like, short summary. So one is like it's a demand and request system that is in the economy which decides what is brought to which location. So what you see is what you get principle is very important, that every detail is visualized. The player does not command single units, but instead he gives overarching commands and the minions then execute this order. So that's important on that. So we have the sandbox, which gives the player a lot of freedom, so he can do a lot of different things, and there's many ways to achieve the same goal ideally. And the visualization is and finally, this relaxing click rate is what we call it, that it's not really putting the player just under time pressure, but instead that he can take his time for his decisions.
Lovely. Thank you. Do we have any more questions for Volker? Yes? Okay.
Hi, Volker.
Hello.
I wonder when you came up with the idea for the game, because it's in a sort of a medieval setting, this game. I'm thinking, in what order did you decide on the setting or the mechanics? Did you have the idea you want to make an sort of game and then work out the mechanics, or did you think, oh, we'd like a game with this sort of mechanic, and then you change the setting afterwards?
Yes. At time, you need very many different products, and the flows of the production and the economy are really difficult to follow. And if you go back too far in history, then maybe there's not enough interesting mechanics that we can put in the game. So it was more like that we thought we want to have this kind of game principle, and what time does best fit to that. And I think the medieval time where you really, so it was maybe a decision which came more from what kind of game we wanted to create.
Okay, have we any more questions? Last call for questions for Volker. I have a question for you, Volker. I'm wondering, you're a family man now, and I'm wondering if Settlers get played at home much, and which versions?
You mean which versions of the Settlers are still played nowadays? Or sorry, I did know from these that the numbers where the Settlers 3 was most played, and followed by Settlers 4, followed by Settlers 2, and then there was 1, then there was 7, and the least played were 5 and 6, I think. At least that's some statistical numbers of what people played nowadays of the history collection.
And at home, your family, have any of your children played the Settlers?
Yeah, my kids are now in more advanced phase of the game, some additional competent testers at my home.
Iconic game, and I agree, but it's user interface. I wonder if you have any anecdotes about how you came up with the decision to make an interface so heavily based on icons.